Hello everybody, my name is Joe and it is August 8th, 2019, and the reason you're watching me is because I wanted to put together a little video about Harwood Heights and Norridge. And the reason that I wanted to do this was because I spent a great deal of my life, I grew up in Harwood Heights, I spent a great deal of my life in Harwood Heights, Norridge, and some of the best years of my life were there, and I wanted to do something to reflect on these two towns and to talk about these two towns. A lot of people, you're going to get more people that know of Norridge or heard of Norridge. A lot of people, if they are not in the vicinity, they have no idea what Harwood Heights is. So I wanted to do a video about this. But there's a little bit more to this. There's a little bit more to why I'm doing this. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a storyteller. They know that I can go on and I can go on and I go on. Won't do that. I know you don't want to look at this gorgeous fat face for too long. But the story behind me really doing this video is actually started on a November morning in 2018. It was a Saturday, and I get up for my job anywhere between 4:15, 4:30 in the morning. So I'm married, I have two little kids, and I was up Saturday. I woke up at like 5:15, 5:30, and I think for most people that get up early, and once you're up, that's it. So I'm up, the family's all sleeping. I went into my office, and I said, hop on YouTube. I love to watch YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, so I said, hey, I want to see what kind of videos we got about the neighborhood. And what I found was quite interesting. There were a lot of videos for real estate. Makes sense, I guess. There were a lot of videos with more of the Norridge town meetings than Harwood Heights. In fact, I don't know if there were any Harwood Heights, but there were a few for Norridge. Okay. There was one guy did an episode, a comedic episode, like he did his own sitcom called Harwood Heights, which was pretty funny. I enjoyed that, to the gentleman who made that. There was another video of a gentleman who was kind of doing what I did, but it was really only for like 2 minutes or so, driving around the streets of Harwood Heights, showing the neighborhood. He ran into somebody that he knew. He was talking to him. Very nice. But there was a video that really caught my eye more than anything else. And what this video was a bunch of young kids in a car getting off at Harlem and Higgins, driving down Harlem Avenue and just tearing Harwood Heights and Norridge apart, saying it's a dump, it's disgusting, it looks horrible, this is just ridiculing, just really, really ridiculing and attacking the towns. And it made me, obviously it made me mad, but it also made me think about, there was a story on some website about a year or two ago that ranked Harwood Heights the worst suburb in Illinois. Now here's what I'm not going to say, oh, this town is worse than Harwood Heights or this town. Harwood Heights is by far not the worst town in Harwood Heights or in Illinois at all. And it actually garnered attention, and one of the news stations did a story on it, and it was in the Tribune, I believe. They interviewed one of my good friends from Public Works, and he talked about how it upset him, and he got emotional, and I don't blame him. I felt the same way. And the news really, I forget which news channel it was, Google it. They took the mayor of Harwood Heights, Arlene, and she showed the town and whatnot, and talked about how people were really upset by this, and they did a really, really beautiful story. But that really got me thinking, and that really upset me that, really when you talk about the reflection of Harwood Heights, it's negative. I mean, you got to push away the real estate videos and the town hall videos, whether, whatever they're talking about, positive or negative. But you have these kids, and then you have this website. And that really is kind of a focal point of what people are going to think of Harwood Heights. And Harwood Heights and Norridge are intertwined for most of the time. So I said, you know what? No, we're going to do something different. Now, before you even watch another second, I'm going to let you know a couple things. First thing is I have little to no video ability whatsoever. I have a program called Nero that I slap videos together, and that's it. You're not going to see anything spectacular in this video. You're not going to see any kind of special effects or writing go across the screen or anything like that. I don't have the ability. I don't have the time to learn how to do it. And that's that. I'm not going to talk about politics. If you know me, you know I love politics. I can talk about politics forever. Not going to talk about politics. There's political things going on in Harwood Heights and Norridge, but I'm not going to talk about that. I'm really going to just focus on kind of what it was like growing up in Harwood Heights and Norridge, how it kind of is now and whatnot, and just talking about those two villages. And I want to dedicate this video. I want to dedicate this video to a very, very special group of people to me. And outside of my children and my wife, hi honey, they had the biggest impact on my life. And I love these guys, and I'm dedicating this video to the guys of the Harwood Heights Public Works. My senior year in high school through college, first few years of college, I worked for Public Works, and Brothers doesn't even really start to explain how close I was with these guys. It was some of the my time there was some of the best times of my life, and these guys, a couple of them are still there. You're going 20 or so years back, but two of them are still there when I worked there. Others have moved on to other places. Others have retired, and sadly, one passed on, a gentleman that meant a great deal to me, and that I think about pretty much on a daily basis. But these guys were very special to me. There was also another gentleman who, at the time when I worked there, was the technical officer for the Harwood Heights Police Department, and he worked very close with Harwood Heights, and I worked with him because I cleaned the squad cars, so I worked with him a lot, and I don't want to forget him either. He was just as much a part of that group to me as the guys the Harwood Heights guys, the Public Works guys. And these guys, I just want to take a second to say, our Public Works guys, and not just Harwood Heights, but all of them. These are the guys that miss Christmases, they miss birthdays, they spend days on end at the Public Works garage because they clear the streets and they have to make sure the village functions. And I know a lot of people appreciate what they do, but there are also people that take it for granted. And I don't think you guys realize the unpleasant conversations that some of them have had with their wives, because they got called in, and you got a small crew like the Harwood Heights and Norridge crews. It's not like Chicago. It's not like a Naperville or even Glenview. My dad was the plumbing inspector in Glenview for a while, where you have a lot of guys. Everybody's on deck, and they got calls at the last minute for special occasions, but I'm dedicating this video to them. So, okay. I'm going to talk, how I did this was one Saturday, my wife and I just drove around the villages, both of them, and we took videos really quick, and they are kind of quick videos, of as many important things in the villages that I could find and I could think of, and slapped them together. Now, everything you're going to see on this video is mine. It's footage I took. I know there's fair use, and I know I would have, it really kind of went back and forth of, finding old pictures of the hip and finding Elliot's Deli and Dare, oh my God, and finding, pictures of the old Harwood Heights Village Hall and of this and of that. And I said, I don't know how fair use works. I don't want to have to take this video down or tear this video up and try to edit it if somebody says, hey, you used my picture without my consent. So everything you see is mine. Every single thing that you see is footage I took. Again, it's on a cell phone. I was driving. My wife was taking videos. So, this is not going to be Spielberg by any means, but this is my video of Harwood Heights and Norridge, and I hope you like it. Thank you. Hello again. Okay, so before we actually start the video, I don't know why I stopped the camera. I shouldn't have stopped the camera, but just a little background for Harwood Heights and Norridge. For those of you guys who don't really know anything about the two villages, they are surrounded by the northwest side of Chicago. And Chicago's been trying to annex them forever, but because they share a common border with each other, they're not surrounded by all four sides. Chicago can't get them. And I grew up in the 70s. I was in Harwood Heights. I was born in 74, 70s, 80s, through the 90s. And I really consider that 70s and 80s period, and you know, my friends, my friends' older brothers and whatnot, the stories they told my cousins, that's really kind of the golden age of Harwood Heights and Norridge, in my opinion. You may disagree, and you know, I don't want to offend anybody, but you know, that's fine if you disagree, but my video, I think that was the golden age, the 70s and 80s. Now back then in America, you knew your neighbors, you knew the people down the block, you knew everybody was in tight-knit communities, even in Chicago. The difference in Harwood Heights and Norridge is you knew the people a mile away in Norridge if you lived in Harwood Heights. You could go walk down a block in Norridge and say, so-and-so lives here, so-and-so lives here, I know this guy, I know this guy. You could live in Norridge, you could do it in Harwood Heights. Everybody went to the Norridge Park, where the Norridge Pool. Everybody went to the Hip, everybody went to Rolling Stones. Everybody kind of went to the same places. It really was, and we always say it, you know, small town surrounded by a big city, blah, blah. It was. It was. I don't think it is as much anymore. I'm not saying it's not, but not like it was back then. Everybody knew everybody, and almost to a fault where you're like, yeah, great. I'm, you know, everybody know how I did this. You know, kid got in trouble. Well, everyone was going to know about it. It was a very, very close-knit community. There were a lot of kids. Primarily, it was, especially kind of going into the 80s, it was Polish and Italian, and it was really a fun mix of people. A lot of great food. Yeah, I didn't miss out on any of those good meals. But I mean, my God, living on my block, we had right next to us, we had a wonderful Italian woman on one side, another wonderful Italian woman on another side that just loved making food. I swear to God, I am not making this up. The house next door to the one, Polish family, loved food. 2 doors down, Polish family, loved food. And you just would get these great, lots of food, lots of good food. Everybody got along. Everybody had fun. And that was really it throughout both of these towns. And the towns worked together. You know, there parades, and you knew the police officers, and you knew the coaches, and you knew it was really just that. In Harwood Heights and Norridge was really a family. It really, really was, and it was just absolutely wonderful. Again, I'm not saying that it lost all of that, but I mean, even talking, you know, my dad still lives. He lives in the same house that I grew up in. He knows the vast majority of his neighbors on the block, and my dad he's the most talkative person in the world. If you know who my dad is, you know my dad will sit there and talk to you forever. But he doesn't know everybody on the block anymore. I mean, back when I was growing up, he knew everybody. Everybody. So, of course, that has changed, but it really was I think it was more connected than a lot of towns during that era. You know, Schaumburg, yes, everyone went to Woodfield. You had, Randhurst, and kids were doing the same things in those other suburbs, but there wasn't that tight-knit connection that there was in Harwood Heights and Norridge. You know, you either went to a Catholic high school or you went to Ridgewood, and you know, even if you went to the Catholic high school, you still knew everybody at Ridgewood because you were intertwined with them. You know, I remember one summer, we had a 3 or 4 block water fight that went on for like 2 weeks, and it was the most fun thing we had done. It was nonstop, just this. We got up, it was over the summer, we got up in the morning, we went outside, it was Newland versus New England, versus Sayre versus Newcastle. Those are the names of the streets we lived on, and I mean, it was just a battle royal that just went on for like 2 weeks, and it was a blast. Tried to do it again the next year, but, you know, people had life happen, people had other things going on, and just didn't have that momentum. But it was something that was just sparked. It was something, you know, I think it was literally our friends from the other street were riding down Newland Avenue and threw water balloons at us, and that was it. It sparked this whole, you know, 5-block water war. But that was the type of thing that would happen in Harwood Heights and Norridge, and it really was a fabulous. Those two towns were just really very special to grow up in. So those twin towers are the Montclair. It's a retirement home. Or not a retirement home. It's a senior community.
Take the next right onto North Oconto Avenue.
There's Parkway Bank. Parkway Bank is another one. Has been a big staple of Harwood Heights and Norridge for God knows how long I can remember. There are several branches in the area. Parkway Bank has really been Harwood Heights and Norridge's bank for years. And over here is Holiday Plaza. Holiday Plaza is just a shopping mall that's served us for God knows how many years. You know, years and years and years ago, it used to be Holiday Bowl. That's a whole. No, it wasn't Holiday Bowl. I forget if it was or not. And then this is across the street from the Harlem and Irving Plaza. So in recent years, they added a whole bunch of new things, and Panera being one of them, to the outside. Yeah, Panera's new, baby. Okay, stay out of the street. So yeah, and like I said, there's Nordstrom Rack. Xfinity Store, Export Fitness. Stay out of the street. Get over here. So, yeah, a lot of new things with the mall. It's changed a great deal over the past 30 years.
Hi. Hi.
Hotel, again, has been in Harwood Heights and Norridge forever. A lot of people had a lot of fun time at the LP Motel. And a staple over here is I have kind of been staying away from things that are chains and whatnot, but you gotta give it Lover's Lane. Lover's Lane's been here forever. So Taco Burrito King is a place where you go after a good night of drinking. There's several locations. This one's open till about midnight or 2, but yeah, this is very, very. Taco Burrito King has really good food, and it is a place you go to after a fun night on the town. So this is Harlem Avenue. This is main stretch between Harwood Heights and Norridge. A lot of stores have been here forever. A lot of stores are new. Culver's over here. That used to be Shooter's Buffet and Bar. A lot of good times at that place. They just reopened the AMC. Got Miller's Ale House over here on the right that's new. On the left right here, Rex's, which was actually on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And the best of the best, Taco Burrito King. But yeah, you just keep on going down Harlem Avenue. Back in the 80s and 90s, people would just cruise up and down here for hours and hours on end. You know, and again, this is just something to do on a weekend. Got the Harlem Irving Plaza up there. Just more of Harlem Avenue. You know, as much as Harlem Avenue is part of this community, it's probably the only thing in this community I really hate. The congestion, people drive
like idiots on Harlem. They always have. I avoid Harlem Avenue with a passion. Coming up, we're going down Irving Park Road now. There is Rolling Stones Records. That is where I spent vast majority of my childhood. Absolutely love Rolling Stones. We will actually get a video inside Rolling Stones. Over on the right over here is Beyond the Limit. A lot of t-shirts were bought there. Yeah, just, you know, going down Irving Park Road over here. And some of these places have been here for a long time. There is the Norridge Village Hall. Norridge Village Hall. And yeah, again, this is Irving Park. This is just as iconic as Harlem Avenue. Over here, here's Newbies Sports Bar and Grill. And coming up is Edelweiss. I absolutely love Edelweiss. Some of the best German food you will ever have in your life. Also up here is the Estelle Seed Community Center. Over here is Ragu Brothers Funeral Homes. And you have the Irving Park Cemetery. So a lot of Harwood Heights had factories for a long time. A lot of people in the village were employed by these factories, and as you saw, for sale. Sadly, some of these did close down, and obviously with every closure, it does impact the village. But this little, you know, the industrial area of Harwood Heights did help. So as we're coming down Nagel here, or I'm sorry, Gunnison, we have the Ridgemore Country Club. It's in Harwood Heights, very prestigious country club. It's been again, I keep saying it's a staple, absolutely, but very, very, very prestigious country club. Someplace God knows I would never be able to join. So now we're just driving down Oak Park Avenue to give you an idea of what the houses in Harwood Heights look like. Not a big red house, but they're Harwood Heights and Norridge. The houses are bungalows. Again, just wanted to get a video of the houses in Harwood Heights and Norridge. We've had, you know, some are older, some are not. Bungalows are the main thing, but they started about 20 years ago building houses that, in my opinion, are a little bit too big for the lots. These are Chicago lots, and we have some really, really big houses that are being built on them, but they sold, so I guess who am I to say anything? But you know, just really basic single family homes in both of the villages. And I'm gonna keep on going. Go down the street. Ooh, we got Ronald McDonald in America. America. Let's see. Typical street for Harwood Heights and Norridge.
Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is the municipalities, and that encompasses the police, fire department, the public works departments, and I think, you know, I let you know at the beginning of the video that the Harwood Heights Public Works Department means a lot to me. But you know, these guys really, they are the heart and soul of these towns, and the Norwood Park Fire Department, you know, they've always put in the seats for, I have arthritis in my hands, and when my daughters were babies, They never hesitated. They always put the seats in the cars and made sure they were safe. And you know, I mean, my dad, you know, since my dad was still a resident, but they never, you know, I'll tell you, some of the towns, the first thing they ask you, and I've kind of had this battle, I guess, with having car seats, because I brought it to a town near me because my town only did it during working hours, and they said, well, you're not a resident. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. In Norwood Park, they didn't care. They want to make sure the kids are safe. So you guys are absolutely fabulous. Thank you for caring about all kids and not just, you know, some that live in your neighborhood zone. Harwood Heights Police Department. I don't really know much of many of the people. Harwood Heights Police Department back in the late 80s and early 90s, I knew them all. Chief Johnny DeVries, you just got in, buddy. Great guy, Johnny. Unbelievably fabulous guy. Well deserved, well overdue. I am very happy, and there is nobody better that to get the position of chief. Johnny, I'm very happy for you, my friend. You're an unbelievable fella. Always could not have been nicer. And somebody has something negative to say about Johnny DeVries, you really need to ask yourself why, because he's a fabulous guy. But really, the townships, the Harwood Heights and Norridge Police, Fire, the Norwood Park Fire, and Public Works guys, thank you for everything you do.
Coming up over here on the right is that's over there is the Harwood Heights Village Hall. This whole building. Village Hall is in there. The police station is in there. It used to be on Lawrence, but it has now since moved over here. This building has been here for about 15 or so years. Coming up on Harwood Heights Public Works. Spent a lot of time where we worked here for a lot of years. A lot of great memories. Loved working here. Really good people. Very special place in my heart for Harwood Heights Public Works. That is the Harwood Heights Water Tower. You know, typical. They just repainted it a little while ago, so it looks a lot better than it did when I worked at Public Works. Norwood Park Fire Department. These are the guys that keep us safe. God forbid there is ever a fire.
Turn right onto North Oconto Avenue.
Good bunch of guys. That is the Norridge Water Tower. You know you're in the village of Norridge when you see that. Village of Norridge Public Works. That's what makes the village go. If it wasn't for Public Works, your streets would not be. This is the Norwood Park Township that serves Norwood Park and Harwood Heights. This we're coming up on is the Eisenhower Library. Now this is the newer library. This has been here for about 10 or so years. They upgraded from the original library, which we will drive past and show you. But this is basically a brand new library. It's got a cafe in it. It's much bigger than the old one. Now this is something called NRC East, and to be honest, I have absolutely no idea what this is, but this was the original. This building housed the original Eisenhower Library, and I can tell you, as a kid growing up in here in the 70s and 80s, we spent a lot of time at the original Eisenhower Library. This was long before the internet. You came here, you needed to find books, you used microfiche, and you know what? I mean, this was a place where we hung out. This is a place where kids, you know, in middle school and grammar school and, you know, high school as well, but not as much. But when you were in grammar school, yeah, you came here. You came here a lot and you hung out with your friends, and you got a lot of schoolwork done, or tried to, because, you know, we were kids. But this Eisenhower Library, very, very, very important part of Harwood Heights and Norridge, and this was a very special place to me. Spent a lot of time here. Harwood Heights Public Works. This part of the video is very special to me. I spent a lot of years working here. Great people, great experience. Absolutely loved working at Public Works. Still a great group of guys as of today. A couple of them are still there that I worked with. Some retired and some we've lost. But I absolutely have nothing but wonderful memories of this place. And this is who I dedicate the video to. My friends at Public Works.
Okay, so I'm going to start talking about some of the more important places, or more. I mean, I don't know what the right word is. More well-known places, and the first one is the HIP, the Harlem and Irving Plaza. And back then, back in the 70s and 80s, if you had nothing to do on a weekend, you could go to the HIP and you would find people that you were friends with. You would just run into them. That was it. End of story. And you didn't have to worry about not having anything to do, because 15 minutes after walking into the HIP, you were either going back to somebody's house or just hanging out at the HIP for the night, or do whatever. You could go into Aladdin's Castle, play video games all night, go to Rolling Stones, hang out at Rolling Stones for 2 hours. The HIP was the central place to be pretty much for all, even over the summer too, but all months except the summer. More kids were at Norridge Park and probably Union Ridge Park than the HIP, but still, I mean, you could go on a July night on a Friday and you'd still run into somebody. And it really was almost to the point where if you went to the Harlem Irving Plaza and you didn't want to run into somebody, you were kind of like, I get to this store, I'm going to go to I think it was Reggie's Books, get something real quick and run out and pray you didn't run into somebody. I mean, always. I remember my mom taking us there and pulling the car up and go, oh, God, I hope we can get in and out of here. Never happened. Never happened. It wasn't because, because I wanted to stay there. It was because we ran into these people. We ran into those people. As a teenager, I remember being bored nights and going to the HIP. Here we go. Go to Rolling Stones. Here we go. So the HIP, it's still there. Harlem Irving Plaza is still there. It has changed dramatically since I was growing up. Their Target is there now. There used to be a Walgreens and then an Exit. A currency exchange was there. They moved that. They added a food court. A great deal of change. Carson's is just closed. And they're adding like a second floor now to that, I believe. But it was, the HIP was really, it was that typical 80s mall. It was, your friends were there. It was the place to hang out. It was the place to be. So many good memories at the Harlem Irving Plaza. And I actually wrote down, some of the places that were there that are gone, or I think some of them like Gamer's Paradise is still there, but Gamer's Paradise was a lot different back then. There was a guy there with longer hair who had been there forever. I believe he owned it. May still. But he was I remember talking to him as a kid. He was always a fun guy. Caramel Corn. Remember Caramel Corn? Jan's Deli. That place was unbelievable. And that was fun if you were over 21 too. I really didn't hang out. I think it was still there for a few years after I was 21, but I never really got to experience it as an adult. Aladdin's Castle, that was just a place to be. It was, I just remember asking my mom for $10 and going to Aladdin's Castle and spending hours there. Burgerberg Station, you guys remember that place? I want to thank, I can't think of the name, but a gentleman in the Northwest Side group on Facebook came, because I posted, I can't remember the name of this place, and he came up with it. Thank you, Burgerberg Station. My friend Liz worked at the Swiss Colony. Remember Swiss Colony? Woolworth, of course. How could you forget Woolworth? And then right outside, how about the Ground Round? Remember going to the Ground Round and the peanuts all over the place? So, just great places and great memories, the Harlem Irving Plaza. I'm going to show the video now, the footage. You finally get to stop seeing this beautiful face and see some actual footage.
one of the most important places in Harwood Heights and Norridge, and it's located in Norridge, is the Harlem and Irving Plaza. Throughout the 70s through today, this has been a place where kids gather, the local, obviously people from the community, shop. But the hip, especially during the 70s and 80s, this was the major hangout for young people. This was the place where if you were anywhere between 10 years old and into your 20s, this was the place to be. And, you know, it really meant a lot to the kids that grew up in this neighborhood. It was somewhere you would go, hang out with friends. There would just be groups and groups and groups of kids. Very special place for people. Harlem Irving Plaza is very much an important part of the Harwood Heights and Norridge community. There it is, the hip. Harlem Irving Plaza. So this is the Harlem Irving Plaza. This is where during the 70s and 80s, 90s, and 2000s and today, a lot of the kids spent their time doing a lot of renovations. But God, during the 80s and 90s, you could not come here without running into somebody. Everybody hung out at the hip. This was the place to be, especially in the 80s. I mean, this was the mall. It's like every other suburban mall in America, but God, all your friends were here. You'd come here, you definitely ran into someone you knew, which was fun because if you weren't doing anything that night, you always knew you'd have friends. But if you were doing something, or if you wanted to come in quick in and out, probably not going to happen. This was the main hangout for people in Norridge and Harwood Heights. It's changed a lot since the 70s and 80s, but still a lot of people come here to hang out, meet their friends. But I don't think it's the central point that it used to be for Harwood Heights and Norridge. And it looks different from when I grew up. One of the major additions to the mall in the 2000s was Target. This used to be a Walgreens and the currency exchange when I was growing up. Much, much different. So this is a whole new addition, this Nordstrom rack. And there's like a fitness place and whatnot. That's new. This wing's been here, but Kohl's has been here forever. Red Robin's about 10 years old or so. This used to be Marshall Fields years ago. Had the walkway and everything. It's all closed up, and these used to be side stores. Through the food court, I want to get a video of you in the food court. This is the food court. This is only the past decade or so. The old
Okay, now my mecca from growing up, Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones, and it's still there, thank God. I hope it never goes anywhere. Rolling Stones Records was the place to be. You went to the hip and you went to Rolling Stones in the 70s and 80s. And now I was too young to really be part of the super fun, cool crowd in Rolling Stones during that golden age. But, I mean, again, the stories I have heard from my friends, older brothers, and my older cousins, and Rolling Stones was, I mean, it still is unbelievably awesome today, but man, back then, it was legendary. And you would go to Rolling Stones, you would walk in, the tapes were right there, you'd get the tapes, albums all over the place, you'd get the Illinois Entertainer, you'd rip the coupon out, and you'd get $2 or $3 off. You could buy any album forever in that store for like $10, no matter what, or maybe, no, that was CD. $10 in albums, I think you could get for $6 or $7 with those coupons. It was unbelievable. Rolling Stones is a staple in the, it's in Norridge, but in the neighborhood, in the Harwood Heights and Norridge neighborhood. And Rolling Stones is it's, yeah, I go there. I go there myself, and you're going to see as part of this video, I still go there, and I sold all my CDs years ago, and before my kids were born, because everything turned digital. So I kind of restarted this tradition. I started this tradition of recreating my CD and album collection, and when we go see my dad, a lot of the times we'll go with Rolling Stones. I'll always take a video of them buying a CD or album, and yeah, it's something that I want them to see after I'm gone, and remember buying those Ozzy albums and Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath, and so all the good stuff, all the real music. And again, the kids in Rolling Stones now are wonderful. There's a gentleman there, I don't know your name, but he runs the Facebook page, his long hair, nicest guy, is extremely friendly. You know, sometimes you go into a store and you video, and they could be like, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? And he comes up, and so do all the kids in there. They're fabulous. Kids are wonderful. But he comes up and goes, man, I love that you do this, and you post it and you tag Rolling Stones, and I think it's just great. So I don't know your name, sir, but if you ever see this video, thank you very much. You are, it's great that people like you are still running that store. Rolling Stones Records. There's Ozzy. I'm trying not to get run over. They used to have Eddie from Iron Maiden in there. There's Axel Foley in the window, but he went away many, many moons ago. Stop posing like a goofy.
I got back up. I know. June 22nd, 2019 at Rolling Stones.
Where I
spent most of my childhood, teenage years. June 22nd, 2019, about 6 o'clock p.m. Rolling Stones Records, Norridge, Illinois, buying Deep Purple Fireball. Randy, you say hi? Hi! We always take videos when we buy CDs at Rolling Stones. Oh God, Madison. This is Penoyer School. It serves Norridge, and it is at the very, very tail end of Norridge. And coming up is Ridgewood High School. If you did not go to a Catholic high school or a private high school in Harwood Heights and Norridge, odds are you went to Ridgewood. Now, some of the kids on the west side of Harwood Heights did go to Maine South, but it was really a small amount of kids that went to Maine South and don't feel like driving to Park Ridge. But the vast majority of kids who grew up in Harwood Heights and Norridge, if you went to the public school, this is where you went. Ridgewood High School, very good school. This is, this was, I didn't go there, I went to a Catholic school, but Ridgewood High School, very, very, very important to our community. Great school, great teachers. This is Giles School. This is one of the elementary schools that services Norridge. I don't think Harwood Heights kids go here. They would, most of them, if not all, would go to Union Ridge. But Giles is one of the elementary schools for our town.
Right onto Getting Street, then turn right onto Thatcher Avenue.
Oh, here's Lee School.
In 400 feet, turn left onto West.
And we're coming in on Union Ridge School. And if you went to the public school in Harwood Heights, you went to this school. You went to Union Ridge.
Norridge Park. Norridge Park was, in the summer, it was, again, like I said earlier when I talked about the hip, you probably didn't have as many people in during the summer because they were at Norridge Park. And you had baseball there, you had Little League there, the pool, I mean, that was, if you watch Stranger Things, it was really, that's kind of how things really were, and that's how it was. Everybody was at the pool, everybody was hanging out. My friend, one of the guys I grew up, I think I said this in the actual video of Norridge Park, one of the guys I was friends with met his wife when he was 13 years old at Norridge Park. Been together ever since, he's going to be 45 years old soon. Norridge Park, it just built everlasting friendships and just unbelievably wonderful memories of Norridge Park. So, yeah.
This is Norridge Park, and that's Norridge Pool. I can't tell you how many days, how many
feet, turn right onto West Lawrence Avenue.
hours, how much time as a kid I spent and my friends spent here at Norridge Park. Norridge Park is where all the kids go, play baseball, play, just hang out with each other. One of my closest friends growing up met his wife here. Everybody who lives in Harwood Heights and Norridge has some sort of story to tell about Norridge Park. Norridge Park was an unbelievable part of our childhood. It is, and it still stands. It is part of childhood for many of these kids, and hopefully it'll be here for forever. And hopefully, as Harwood Heights and Norridge will hopefully be here forever. We're across the street from Cumberland Chapels, And Cumberland Chapels is probably the place. It's our it's where you have wakes and funerals, and this is the place where most of the people in the neighborhood go when it is time to say goodbye to a loved one. A lot of people have had experiences here saying goodbye to the people that you love. Cumberland Chapels is very, very, very important to this community. So this is absolutely brand new. This is Fuller's Car Wash, and I'm not getting this because it's a car wash. I'm getting it because of the nostalgia of what used to be here. And it was Elliot's Dairy and Deli. It was a little grocery store. It had the best corned beef. I mean, literally a lot of people said it was the best corned beef in Chicago. The roasted chicken was fabulous. The fruit was fabulous, vegetables. It just closed down one day. From what I understand, there was family infighting and they closed it down. It was vacant for years, and here's what it was. Went from one of the best little stores in the area, probably the best little stores in Chicago, to a car wash. Well, hey, Fuller's, God bless you. The next thing on our list is the AMC, which is brand new, but it actually is a return. Growing up, we had the Norridge movie theater, and again, this was a major hangout growing up. This was a place that you went with your friends. Everybody in the neighborhood, that's where we went to see movies, and it closed. It got very run down. There were fights. It got really, really bad. And just the past year, they have reopened the AMC, and I am so happy, or AMC reopened it, and I am so happy that this movie theater is here, because it brings back a part of our childhood, and it brings back something to the community. It brings back something from the old days. All right, so this is Go Bananas, and this is like one of those kid places for kids to go jump and play, and they have had nothing but problems with Go Bananas. There have been a lot of fights, a lot of adults acting less mature than the children. Really, people in Harwood and Norridge are not a big fan of this place. So one of the newest additions, and we'll get a better shot of this, one of the newest additions to Harwood Heights and Norridge area is Mariano's. Now, I've kind of been staying away from the chains, and I wanted to do just like a lot of the mom and pop things that are in Harwood Heights. But Mariano's, with the loss of Dominic's a few years ago, Mariano's has really taken a very important space and played an important role for the people of Harwood Heights and Norridge. And it's always jam-packed. It's been very, very successful. The Salvation Army has been here ever since I can remember, and obviously, being the Salvation Army, it does a great deal of service to the community. You can drop off and donate things that are needed for families who do not have some of the things that we take for granted. So, very happy that Salvation Army is part of our Harwood Heights and Norridge family. Harwood Heights Simple Mart. This was a Citgo for years and years, but so this little strip mall has the Coral Reef Pet Center, Algaretti's Bakery, and you cannot get any better pastries than Algaretti's. And there is Norridge Park. This is Norridge Gardens. This used to be the Norridge Nursing Home. It's basically a nursing home, but this place has been here forever, servicing the community, and many of our loved ones have gone here. My mother was here for the last year of her life, so it's part of the Norridge Harwood Heights community. Central Baptist Village is a senior living community. It's been here for quite some time, and services a lot of our senior citizens that can no longer take care of themselves.
So, in this video, you're going to see many religious institutions, and I'll be honest with you, this was kind of a learning experience for me, because I really knew St. Rosalie, and again, in this video, I'm really kind of just focusing on Harwood Heights and Norridge, and I'm not trying to, I kind of stayed out of Chicago, but you know, I knew Ridgewood, or not Ridgewood, St. Rosalie, Divine Savior, you know, St. Monica, which is in Chicago. But there are some churches I didn't know of different religions that existed in Harwood Heights and Norridge, and this was really kind of a fun thing for me to do. Now, I don't think I got all of them, so please don't be offended if I did not get your religious institution. Some of them Google Maps just could not find. I think there were 2 of them. That one brought me to a house. You're going to see one actually is a house, but something was a house, and I tried to get all of them. But yeah, this is fun. But St. Rosalie is in this, and it's the one that's predominant. Again, this is kind of my video, so St. Rosalie means very much to me. I was baptized there. My children were baptized there. I wasn't married there because my wife's from Minnesota. We got married in Wisconsin. It's kind of a midpoint, and my dad still goes to St. Rosalie. St. Rosalie is, you know, I went to St. Rosalie for grammar school, and it has some of my fondest and most beloved memories. At one point, St. Rosalie was on the list of possibly being closed. It doesn't look like that's the case anymore, thank God. I really, St. Rosalie is a very, very, very special place to me. It always will be, and, I'm glad that I could include it in this video. I absolutely love St. Rosalie.
Okay, so we're coming up on the new future Mongolian Christian Church of the Nazarene. You know, I really didn't know much about these churches, but yeah, again, part of our community. Now we are coming up to the Acacia Park Lutheran Church right over here. A friend of mine did get married. I've only been in this church one time, and it is really, really pretty inside. But this is the Acacia Park Lutheran Church. Okay, over here is one of the Catholic schools. Well, it was Catholic school. I don't think it's open anymore. Catholic Church Divine Savior. There's the sign. Divine Savior is, again, I know I keep saying this, but is a staple, very important part of the community, very important part of the spiritual lives of many people in Norridge and Harwood Heights. Divine Savior, even though I didn't go to Divine Savior, I had a lot of friends that did, and it was a big part of my life as much as it was theirs. Here is another church in Norridge. So this is the United Church of Christ, I believe. What does the sign say? Oh, it's in a
Service at Sunday at 11 a.m. car.
Yeah, it's something in another language. Okay, it's a resident type of church. Sure looks like. Okay. So, this little church over here, the Romanian Christian Assembly, again, is another place of worship in Harwood Heights. We're also coming up now on Bethany Baptist Church. So we're coming up now to St. Rosalie Catholic Church, and at one time school. And this is where I went to school. This is where I spent a lot of years. Very, very important to me. Very special place to me. You know, these were my grammar school years. And for a lot of people on the east side of Harwood Heights, if you did not, and in part of Chicago as well, if you did not go to a public school, you probably, and you were to a Catholic school, you probably went here, probably went to St. Rosalie. and that's the church. We'll drive by the church again, but this parish office, this was the school. Now they do camps here over the summer, and they do CCD and Polish language school, but this is very, very, very important place for me. We're gonna go around so we get a better view of the church. This is made my first communion, was baptized here, my confirmation. Both my children were baptized here. So again, like I say, I can't really stress enough that this is really an important place for me. And I'm going the wrong way, so I wanted to do this before church mass started. Oopsie, sorry, St. Rosalind, going the wrong way down your thing.
A lot of good food in Harwood Heights. And Norridge. A lot of good food in Harwood Heights and Norridge. A lot of great pizza places. Now, I said earlier that I really kind of wanted to stay away from Chicago, and you're going to see this is the one place where I'm gonna break that rule just a tiny bit, but you'll see why. But a lot of great pizza places, a lot of great restaurants, a lot of great food in Harwood Heights and Norridge. And in particularly, I want to point out Jay's Beef. And over the past few years, Bone and Beef and Portillo's and just whatever else has opened up in the neighborhood. There's nothing that can touch Jay's. There's always the rivalry between Johnny's and Jay's. I've had Johnny's. It is not impressive to me at all. Just had Jay's the other day. Again, I was in the seeing my dad. I was there in the neighborhood this morning. Jay's piles on the Italian beef. It's juicy. It's nothing beats Jay's. Absolutely nothing beats Jay's in Harwood Heights for beef sandwiches and for food, really. I mean, for that type of food. You again, please leave your comments. I'm happy to. I always love seeing the comments. Say what you want. Take your Portillo's and have fun with it. You're from Harwood Heights and Norridge. Show loyalty and go to Jay's. And I have no affiliation to Jay's whatsoever. Absolutely none. Those chain garbage restaurants cannot touch Jay's Beef. And I swear to God, I have no affiliation to them. Beyond that, yeah, there's Edelweiss for German food. I haven't been there in years because my wife doesn't like, so she won't go now. Anyway, love you, honey. Hi. The pizza, great Villa Napoli pizza. There's some great pizza places, great restaurants in Harwood. Superosa Pizza, just fabulous places to go for food. Obviously, in Harwood Heights and Norridge. Yes. This body was built and bred on Harwood Heights and Norridge food. So, yeah, just doesn't get much better.
All right, over there is the best beef place ever. Absolute, not just in Harwood Heights and Norridge, but the best place for beef you can ever go to, Jay's Beef. There's always been a rivalry between Jay's and Johnny's. Jay's wins, hand down. It is 1,000 times better. It is the best beef in Chicago. So we're coming up on two pizza places, Villa Napoli, which I've had many times. It was really, really good. And Al's Pizza is another staple of the neighborhood. Another very popular pizza place in the Harwood Heights and Norridge area is right here, a Nettie's Pizza. Nettie's has been here for quite some time and is absolutely a favorite for the people in the neighborhood. That is Superosa, or Cucina Biagio. That is one of the places that everybody goes for pizza. It used to be Vince's, so they changed the name a few years ago. Still very good food, good restaurant. Basilico's been here for quite a few years, and again is another one of the neighborhood staples. There's their iconic, their sign has been here for many, many, many years. Norridge, definitely a Norridge staple. Going up on the Blossom Cafe. This one's been around for a number of years. Many different incarnations. It used to be the old Phoenix restaurant, but now it's Blossom. There's always been a restaurant here. Mullen's Bar and Grill has been here for quite a few years. It is a staple in Norridge as well. It's very popular. A lot of our young locals like to come over here and hang out. So it's another place that people hang out in the Harwood Heights and Norridge area. A new place, Ellie's Pancake House, and that kind of took over. There used to be a place called Dapper's that was here forever, and everybody went to Dapper's, but it closed down and Ellie's took over. That was Old Warsaw. Old Warsaw was a Polish restaurant that had been in the village since at least the 70s. They demolished most of it. That wall is still standing, but it had a great buffet, great Polish food. It had a banquet hall where a lot of people had christenings, baptisms, graduations, everything. Sadly, it's gone. The front of it is all demolished, but Old Warsaw had been in the village forever. Over here is the Baltic Polish food store. It's been here since they put this new strip mall in. It is a place that a lot of the residents go. This area has a lot of Polish people in it, so this store is a favorite amongst the people in Harwood Heights and Norridge. So over there on the left is Twins Gyros. Twins is unbelievable. I went to Twins a million times while I was living here, and they never disappoint. Unbelievable food, great food, Harwood Heights food. Absolutely love Twins. So over here we've got Family Palace restaurant in Harwood Heights. Place that's been here for a long amount of time and a village favorite. Over here on the left right here is Sun Ing's Chinese restaurant, and I love this place. Oh my God, we used to go here quite often as I was growing up. Not too many Chinese restaurants in Harwood Heights or Norridge, one of the few, but really, really, really good food. Went to a couple places in Chicago that have closed down, but Sun Ing's was always pretty good. Always really, really good. And right over here, we have the Harwood Heights Deli. This is a lot of it, it says fruit market and liquor, but this is has a lot of Polish food. Again, there's a lot of Polish people in the area, so it does cater to them. Again, this is 2019, going back 30 years ago. This was a little green store, and it was Lupo's, but we used to call it the green store because it was green. And we would walk on the way home from school from St. Rosalie. We would walk here and we would get bottles of pop and candy and hang out and sit here and hang out with our friends for probably an hour instead of going home. When this was the green store, it was a lot of good memories, So over here is Las Palmas, and this is a Mexican restaurant in Harwood Heights, very popular, really good food, great margaritas. You can see there is an outside area to eat. Years ago it used to be Mateo's, and that closed down and became Las Palmas. Now, years and years and years ago, back in the 70s and early 80s, there was a pizza place called Little Caesars, and we used to walk down here and get pizzas sometimes on Friday nights. Little Sicily, well, not Little Caesars, Little Sicily. They got this fellow walking, but yeah, Las Palmas, really, really good Mexican place. The Landmark Pub in Harwood Heights is absolutely lives up to its name. It is a landmark. This place has been here, I think, longer than any other bar in the village. At some point or another, almost everybody's dad has been in here. Most of the younger people have been in here. This is really, really one of the foundations of Harwood Heights. It has been here forever, and hopefully it will be here for just as long. We have Gas Depot over here, and this place has been here forever. Coming up on our left side also is we have the Heights over here. That used to be Middy's many years ago, right over here. Very, very popular local bar in Harwood Heights. Great bar, great bar. Coming up over here on the left is Scores Bar. Used to be Sidelines years ago. When I went there, it was Sidelines, but Scores is a bar and a restaurant. Again, for the people on the east side of Harwood Heights, and obviously everywhere else. Very, very popular hangout. Kind of went downhill for a while, but I guess it has bounced back. So,
why don't I just take a second now and talk about some places, or just mention some places, and I've talked about, when I talked about the hip places that are gone, but places that really meant, that played a big role in Harwood Heights and Norridge. Maurice Linnell, the cookie. I mean, everybody in Chicago knew Maurice Linnell, and you could smell those cookies from like 2 blocks away, and it was unbelievable. You could go in, you get the broken cookies. If you were a kid, they could go in, they give you a bag of broken cookies, say, go have fun. How much is it? Nothing. Get out of here. Go have fun. You know, Maurice Linnell was just, I hate that it's gone, but it was a big part of our childhoods. So the Hub, which became the Axle roller rink, I was too young, never knew it as the Hub, but the Axle roller rink. And as roller skating faded out, sadly it closed down, but so much fun at the Axle as a kid. You know, birthday parties at the Axle and going there. Your mom would drop you off and you were there for 3-4 hours. Nobody... You know, we weren't going to get kidnapped or anything like that, and you went there with your friends, and just nothing but fun. Yeah. My first kiss was at the Axle roller rink. I was 6 years old, and my friend's sister was 4 or 5. We went, mwah! Yeah, so, yeah. Special memory for the Axle. Holiday Bowl. Again, I was way too young. I just have, like, flash memories of the Holiday Bowl. Again, the stories I hear of the fun at the Holiday Bowl during the 70s and the 80s, my God. I have memories of going there with family and kids and whatnot, but if you were a teenager in your 20s in the 70s and 80s and the Holiday Bowl was there, you probably have some great stories of that bowling alley. A lot of fun stories of that bowling alley. Shooters and Benjamins. I mean, now I did go into Shooters and Benjamins, maybe a little bit underage here and there, but there was Shooters. First of all, the buffet for a long time was great. It wasn't grade A meat, but they had roast beef, they had turkey, they had pork, they had ham. We did some damage. We did. When I worked at Public Works, I'll tell you right now, and you guys are watching it, that if you're watching this, you're going to shake your head and go, Jesus Christ. Some of us did some damage. Some of us did some real damage at our Heights Public Works, or at Shooters when we were at Public Works. You go there for lunch and forget it. you're not doing much in the afternoon because you aren't moving very well. But Shooter's Bar at night was fun. Benjamin's was a blast. You'd go there. The whole ADP was across the street. So on Fridays and Thursdays sometimes, that whole crowd would go there till about 6, 7 o'clock. Then they'd leave, and it would still be, then the influx of the neighborhood people were at Benjamin's before they'd go downtown or whatnot. I was never a big downtown person, so I really ended up, I usually stayed at Benjamin's for the vast majority of the night. Lot of fun times at Benjamin's. I really, that place, if there's any old watering holes that I miss, Benjamin's is the one that I miss the most. So yeah, and I'm sure I'm forgetting many other places. Please put it in the comments, and please don't get upset if I forgot something.
So when I did this video, I wanted it to really just be places in Harwood Heights and Norridge. However, I'm going to give a shameful plug. Shameful because, it's my video and I'm not adhering to the Harwood Heights and Norridge, but to Gio's Pizza, and this is located at Harlem and Diversey, and Harlem Avenue was just packed the day I did this video, so I wasn't going to drive all the way down there. But there's a lot of great pizza places, and the pizza places that I showed you, and I know I missed a few, but this is the best pizza place ever. Absolutely ever. They only deliver to part of Harwood Heights. I don't think they do anything in Norridge. Could be wrong. No, they probably do parts of Norridge. But only parts of Harwood Heights, and in Norridge, I think Norridge, maybe not. But my God, Gio's Pizza, we've been only going there for, I think they opened in 72, and we've been going there. I was born in 74, ever since I've been alive. They are the best pizza ever. So this is the only non-Harwood Heights or Norridge part of the video, but Gio's Pizza, best ever. I'm sure in the comments there'll be a lot of arguments and disagreements. So I was going to put Mr. Beef in there, but as the other non-Harwood Heights or Norridge, but you know what? They just got sold and they have just gone downhill horribly. So I couldn't endorse them. A year ago, I would have happily put them in here with Gio's, but I just can't do it now. Mr. Beef is just, the new owners have absolutely destroyed it.
All right, well, that's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And, yeah, I did at the very end. I put something from Chicago in there, the only thing from Chicago. Again, I have a lot of friends. My dad still lives in Harwood Heights. I have friends that still live in Harwood Heights. It's and friends that still live in Norridge. The villages are still fabulous. They're still close, tight-knit communities. It is a bit different. It's not that... It's still a family, don't get me wrong, and I don't want anybody to say, hey, why is he knocking us? And this video is the exact opposite, to show how wonderful Harwood Heights and Norridge are. Things change, people change. I think because of social media, people just don't interact the way they do. I don't think Harwood Heights and Norridge will ever change having that special feeling and being that special place. But I mean, again, for me, the 70s and 80s, it was a magical time to be in Harwood Heights and Norridge. It really, really was. The kids there are still wonderful. You don't have gang problems. You don't have kids run, major drug problems. Nothing like that. They're still good, respectable kids, and the families. We take our kids trick-or-treating there, and we went there last year, and it was a blast. It was a great weather for Halloween. It was flooded with kids there, and everybody was nice and friendly. So maybe it's going back. Maybe we're going to get it back. And I do see, when I bring my kids over the summer and we walk down Union Ridge so they can play, you do see kind of that old feeling of people who knew each other a lot and whatnot. So hopefully it's coming back to that. We did lose it a little bit for a while. Hopefully it's on the upswing back, because those two towns are very, very special. Whatever, and if you see this video, these kids driving down Harlem Avenue, you've come across this insane, asinine article on whatever website it was saying Harwood Heights is the worst village or the worst suburb they're wrong. Garbage and terrible. Thank you, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I really, really do. Please leave your comments. Leave memories. I had thought about talking to people, you know, who still live, or people who grew up in Harwood Heights and Norridge, and I may do that. May do another video where we just sit around and talk about things and talk about our old memories and stuff like that. So some of my Facebook friends that grew up with me, you let me know. Send me a message. See if you guys would be interested. And again, it's all just memories of the stuff. Nothing political. Nothing. I know some of you disagree with. We disagree in politics. We're not going to talk about any of that stuff, or the politics of the village, or what we think the village should do or should. Just the fun, good memories. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully, maybe I'll do another one soon. Thank you. And I get like and subscribe. If you like heavy metal and hard rock and the old 80s and 70s stuff, you know, I review that stuff. So subscribe, hit the bell thingy, and all right, thank you.